Hey everybody. You'll have to excuse the way I look. This is I'm hot and I've been to the ballpark all morning look. But I had meant to get on here and record a video today that I'd been meaning to talk about for a few days now. And it's a principle that I think you have to understand to truly get the basis of why I think intermittent fasting is so very important. And it's a principle about the way insulin works in your body. People get confused, and I think when they hear the word insulin, they automatically think about diabetes, and I somehow think that they put that together, that only people who have diabetes use insulin or need insulin. And that is 100% incorrect. So insulin is important to everybody. We all have insulin. I always say to my people in the office, you either take it or you make it. So everybody has to have it to live. So insulin, what happens is you eat food, it breaks down into your body, and it breaks down into, first usually carbs will break down into glucose. Glucose is floating around in your body, and it needs to get inside of your cells for it to become fuel. It cannot feed your cell until it gets inside the cell. So what insulin does is the key to get inside the cell. So insulin will unlock the cells and allow the glucose to come in the cell in order for it to be used as fuel. Now, when the cell will burn up and use the fuel that it needs. Any excess fuel that it does not need, any extra, it will then turn into fat and put away for later, for storage. So in case there comes a time when you do not have any glucose readily available and you need some, then you'll have it later. So it is a very key part of a healthy human being to have insulin in your system. Now, people with diabetes, either type 1 diabetics, they don't make insulin anymore, so they have to have insulin. Type 2 diabetics, a lot of times they don't stop making insulin, but they become resistant to their own insulin. So I always tell people their locks got changed. So they still have their own insulin, but their locks are changed, their keys don't work anymore, and their insulin cannot unlock their cells anymore. So the glucose just floats around, can't get inside those cells, and basically their cells are just starving to death, even though the glucose is out there and ready to use. It's starving. So this is why insulin is so important to your body. Now, it leads to the next basic principle here, is that there are basically only two states of kind of being. You are either fasting or you're fed, and there's really no in between. And so I've talked to people before. They'll say, oh, I'm kind of a grazer, or I'm a snacker. I don't really eat meals as snack. So that doesn't count. So that's considered being a fed state. So even if you're just grazing just a little bit at a time, or you don't sit down and eat a full meal, your body is considered being in a fed state at that point. Because here's what happens inside your body. So you are fasting, obviously, when you haven't eaten anything. And your body will, when it doesn't have glucose actively floating around, trying to get into those cells, your body says, hey, okay, I need energy. There's no glucose available. I don't see any protein available. All right, I need to dig into the fat stores. And so it will dig into your fat stores, and this is when you are burning fat actively. Now, the minute that your body detects any source of anything, carbs, protein, or fat that you've intaked into your body through eating, whether or not that's a snack, a meal, whatever, it is going to use that first. And it always uses it in the order. It uses carbs first, then uses protein, and then finally, last but not least, it uses fat. So once you break your fast with any type of food or beverage, then you are now switched over to the fed state of being. So if you are fed and in the fed state, you cannot possibly be burning fat. No way. Because your body can only burn fat in a fasting state. Because if it has seized this active, available fuel there to use, it's going to use that instead. Your body is not stupid. It's not going to work harder than it has to. Your body is a super smart machine. It's going to take the path of least resistance. So this is why I find that intermittent fasting is truly the only way I have ever found to have true fat loss, is because to dig into those fat stores that we have developed over the years, you have to have a prolonged fasting period. If you do not have a prolonged fasting period, your body will never dig into those stores of fat. Back, I don't know, there's been kind of several years ago, you would hear, the trick to losing weight is to eat 6 or 7 small meals a day. Don't eat 3 meals, big meals, to eat 6 or 7. Well, and I see where this principle came from. They're thinking just don't gorge, don't stretch your stomach out, just, eat a little bit at a time. But I think the science of that is truly wrong, because then you stay in this fed state all day long. And truly, you do not get to that fasting state other than when you're sleeping. And for most of us, we sleep 8 hours or maybe even less than that. True fat burning does not start till 12 hours. You have to be fasting for a minimum of 12 hours until you burn fat. The real magic happens at about 16 hours of true fasting. So between 12 and 16 is when you're really starting to burn those real fat stores, and the magic's really starting to happen in your body. So if you are eating your 6 small meals a day, grazing all day long, and then you're sleeping for 8 hours and just fasting when you're basically in bed, you're never going to lose fat stores. I don't care if you are eating 1,000, 1,200 calories a day. The fat is still going to be there because your body is constantly seeing fuel. It's seeing the glucose or protein that's available, and it's just going to use that. So scientifically, that's why I just really feel strongly that intermittent fasting is the way to go. Is it for everybody? No. Is it super easy? Honestly, it sounds awful. The word fasting, the first time I heard about it, I was like, ooh, count me out. That is not for me. It honestly has become, it's not a diet. It is an eating strategy. So anyway, we'll continue to talk more about it, but I just wanted to kind of explain to y'all kind of what insulin does in the body and why it's important. And I think you have to understand that to know about fat loss. So anyway, I hope y'all enjoy your weekend and y'all stay cool. So see you later.